Today I want to explain a method that allows us at Masters Design to very effectively uncover and address imbalances and areas of non-optimal function in the body. The technique we use is called muscle testing. Muscle testing, also known as manual muscle testing or muscle monitoring, was derived from and is used in applied kinesiology. You will hear me refer to the technique as muscle testing. Muscle testing is used as a biofeedback mechanism that can identify stress in many forms in the body. Muscle testing may be unfamiliar to you, but it has been in existence and has been used for quite a long time. I'm going to share its history here in just a minute. The technique has grown in popularity over the last 60 years. It's a simple, non-invasive assessment tool used by many different kinds of health practitioners, chiropractors, those in the nutrition and naturopathic field, as well as massage and physical therapists. Muscle testing is a method that is used to measure your body's response to anything related to your physical, mental, and emotional wellness. If we work together, I or other practitioners at Masters Design will recommend specific dietary changes, nutritional supplements, or other various supports that you need based on muscle testing results. The goal is to support your body's healing processes and address any deficiencies or imbalances. Now let's move on to the history of applied kinesiology and muscle testing. A dictionary would define kinesiology as the study of the mechanisms of body movement. And for over 2,000 years, from the time of Aristotle, 384 to 322 BC, kinesiology was focused on anatomy and how muscles and joints were involved in various types of movements. You can still study kinesiology today in the physical education department at universities and apply that knowledge to athletes and situations such as post-injury rehabilitation. There is a beautiful connection between the concepts of kinesiology and muscle testing, and this history is an explanation of that interconnectedness. The first known use of muscle testing goes back to 1932, when Dr. R.W. Lovett, a Boston orthopedic surgeon, used it to assess disabilities in patients with polio and nerve damage. This was further developed in 1949 by Henry and Florence Kendall, who published Muscles, Testing and Function. In their book, they described specific ways to test individual muscles for other neuromusculoskeletal conditions. This work helped to launch kinesiology muscle testing. Beginning in 1964, Dr. George Goodheart, a chiropractor from Detroit, Michigan in the United States, recognized that many chiropractic adjustments were not effective because they did nothing to relieve muscles that were in spasms. He made the brilliant observation that when a muscle is in spasm, which often caused pain, it was because the opposing muscle was too weak. Thus, if a person had pain in one upper shoulder in the upper trapezius muscle, it was because the other upper trapezius muscle was too weak. Dr. Goodheart began searching for ways to bring weak muscles back into balance. He found that massaging reflex points, discovered in 1931 by an osteopath, Dr. Frank Chapman, was effective. Chapman had related his reflex points to specific organs, thus Goodheart was able to correlate specific muscles to specific organs. Lightly holding reflex points, discovered by chiropractor Dr. Terence Bennett in the 1930s, also strengthened muscles. Bennett had also related these reflex points to specific organs, so again, Dr. Goodheart was able to correlate specific muscles to specific organs. Tracing acupuncture meridians was another way to strengthen weak muscles, and acupuncturists had independently related the respective meridians with specific organ functions. Goodheart also found that sometimes he could strengthen a muscle by massaging firmly on its two ends. His discovery stemmed from the fact that he was relentless and would not give up. If a muscle would not balance, he would explore everything he could until he finally found something that worked. Gradually, he developed a system for quickly realigning the body's structure by balancing muscles. Even though the medical profession has failed to recognize that muscles are related to organs, he established that muscles are in fact related to organ function and showed that balancing muscles can improve organ function. One of his most brilliant protégés, Dr. Alan Beardall, made several crucial discoveries that added additional tools to the development of the field of kinesiology, which I'm going to expound on in the next section. The work of all of these great minds developed into the vast field of applied kinesiology. Several systems of kinesiology, including clinical kinesiology, behavioral kinesiology, neural organization technique, and more, all developed out of applied kinesiology. Now let me help you understand how muscle testing works. To do this, I think it is beneficial to have a little depth of understanding about the discoveries of Dr. Goodhart's most brilliant protege, Dr. Beardall. He was the engineer of the concept of the body as a biocomputer. This has proven to be such a powerful model for many aspects of the subconscious functions that can be discovered by muscle testing. Your subconscious processes data in a binary way, which means two ways. Neurons running the muscles can fire or not fire, lock or unlock. A lock in a muscle test thus indicates, yes, I am in balance, there is not enough stress to impede my function, while an unlock response indicates, no, I am unbalanced. There is too much stress for me to work properly. More importantly, this yes or no response of the muscle is the summation of all the factors influencing the brain and central nervous system, from the level of your structural alignment to your nutritional status, your toxic load, and your emotional state. The discovery of this method has positively impacted the health of countless numbers of people across the world because of its ability to provide access to the physical, mental, and emotional systems of the body. You are probably wondering, how does this work? Right? Great question. Every muscle in your body is connected to your central nervous system, which consists of your brain and spinal column. And when your brain registers stress, this interferes with your neurological circuit and causes a muscle response. It is from this muscle response that a proficient practitioner can identify the stresses involved in their client's issue or dysfunction, whether it is physical, mental, emotional, nutritional, or a combination of these. Through the same muscle response, the practitioner can also identify what correction the body needs to come back into balance. At Masters Design, we conduct muscle testing using an accessible muscle, usually a limb such as your arm, to test for varying states of stress. It is designed to identify these states only and not to test the full range of motion of the muscle. We gently apply pressure to the muscle for a couple of seconds, asking our client to match our pressure. If the muscle holds during this gentle test, it is considered to be locked. A muscle will lock because of the level of neurological information flow between the muscle and the central nervous system is sufficient to maintain muscle contraction in opposition to the dynamic pressure that is being applied. If a muscle gives or releases during this gentle test, it is considered unlocked. This is due to insufficient neurological flow between the muscle and the central nervous system, which occurs because of physical, mental, or emotional stress. It's important to remember in muscle testing that the practitioner needs the client to match their pressure. It should not be a strain for the client to try to press into the practitioner's hand or to wrestle to keep the muscle firm. It should be gentle, non-fatiguing, and go no longer than a couple of seconds. The goal is cooperation from the client rather than competition. In order to use kinesiology effectively, a practitioner must be able to correctly muscle test. It is through the accurate feedback the body gives that we find imbalances within our clients' systems. We test for stressors, which are toxins or pathogens, and then we test for what neutralizes the stressor, which I call the correction. There are hidden states of imbalance in the body that also need to be addressed, and these are detected through a deeper knowledge and understanding of how to use muscle testing. but that information is advanced and is far beyond the scope of today's introductory explanation. At Masters Design, we have chosen to use the method of muscle testing because we have found it to be the best way to determine the priority of what we need to address to help our clients move to a better place of health. This tool often reveals stresses in the body that would never show on reports derived from costly lab work. With that said, we do use lab work as a tool, but we also know that lab work does not tell your body's whole story, and muscle testing allows us to move forward with confidence, accuracy, and precision.